Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Thorslund versus Cetin fight. If you're new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Thorslund is 20-0 with 8 KOs and Cetin is 11-0 with 7 KOs. This fight is for the WBC and WBO World Bantamweight titles. Thorslund's last fight was a win via a unanimous decision versus Avila, and Cetin's last fight was a win via a unanimous decision versus Romero. This is in Thorslund's home country of Denmark, and to speak a bit more about what I've just been saying there. So, obviously, like I say, this is for both the titles, both of Thorslund's titles. She's been on a very dominant run as a champion so far, and she's here defending again against an unbeaten prospect coming up off of an interesting victory versus Romero, where she became the silver champion, I believe WBC silver champion, and she's got seemingly quite a decent following. She's from Turkey, and the last fight of hers, in my opinion, I'm going to go into it a bit more detail in the next few moments when I speak about both fighters a bit more, but I wasn't overly impressed with it in my opinion, and I saw quite a few weaknesses, and possibly you could make a bit of an argument of Romero even winning to an extent, and the fact it was unanimous decision was interesting to me. But she managed to get the win either way, and she's deservedly, as an unbeaten prospect, like I say, deservedly got this shot. And Thorslund's last fight, to be completely honest, you can't really seem to find any footage of her last fight versus Avila. But she's been on a very good run, like I mentioned, as of recent, and there's been beaten majority of her opponents relatively convincingly, and she's got quite a big backing with Lee Eaton and the Let's Go management team in general. And so hopefully with this fight progresses her on even more, and hopefully then she could actually go on to defend her title, possibly outside of her country, because she doesn't really fight out of Denmark that much. But she's more than capable too, and like I say, she's got a big backing, and I would like to hope that after this fight she goes on to fight one of the other champions or one of the bigger names in the division, to then go and defend against their, possibly outside of her country, like I say, and even then go on to a big card like a Matchroom card, or a Queensbury card, or something like that, a big card, and really make a name for herself, because she is a very talented fighter. But to speak about them both as fighters, Thorslund as a fighter, I mean, she's more than used to having this home country pressure. She's used to fighting under pressure. Like I say, she's used to fighting in Denmark, and so yeah, she seems to thrive off the pressure quite well. She sticks behind her jab quite well. She's a front foot type fighter. She's aggressive. She's got solid hooks. She's physically strong. She pushes her shots through. She's got good solid timing. Breaks you down continuously. Pressure fighter that cuts off the ring well, and front foot wise, she's a good solid fighter, and the fact that she is just going to constantly break you down and constantly put on good physical pressure and be aggressive on the front foot, it's difficult for fighters to be able to deal with, and that's why she can and is capable to get stoppages that she does, because of the fact that she's also just aggressive, and like I say, she just kind of outworks her opponents and is just too much for her opponents. And with, like I said, a good timing as well, was when her opponents want to then come forwards, she's got that good timing to be able to kind of stop that from being the case. The negatives about her, to an extent, I mean, she does stand straight on, and she does kind of lean into her punches a bit when she is on the front foot, and if you aren't moving back and being pushed back, she normally does push you back, but if she can't push you back, then she's just going to stand straight on and just kind of stand and trade and be in a war, and willingly take quite a few shots against opponents who I believe she is more talented and more skilled than, but she is taking unnecessary shots, which in my opinion she shouldn't realistically be taking. She can headhunt a little bit at times. When she does go to the body, she works well there, and she does put together some good shots there and good combinations where she works to the body and then goes back up to the head. But sometimes she can become a little bit, like, not reckless, but a little bit just headhunty, and it's something that you don't always want to be seeing. I think she can struggle a little bit on the back foot at times. She's shown that she can counter, and like I say, good timing to stop being on the back foot too much. But when she is on the back foot, sometimes her work isn't always the best, and can be a little bit sloppy at points when she is on the back foot or in really close in a clinch. But she normally, like I say, does her best work in close. She plants sometimes her feet for too long and just stands and trays, like I say, for too long, and just waits there and doesn't move around as much. I don't think her defensive movement is anything incredible. Solid feints, alright head movement, but nothing incredible. She's got a bit of a low guard at times when she comes in. She can be a bit overconfident, in my opinion, to an extent, and then just drops a guard and just kind of follows you around the ring and cuts off the ring well. But if she's just standing and trading with a low guard, it means she is going to be taking shots. She can tire. She isn't overly fast. and possibly she may be overlooking somebody like Cetin here. Like I say, she's been very dominant so far, and as of recent, and somebody like Cetin, who obviously, like I say, is an unbeaten prospect, but is coming off a fight which, in my opinion, she didn't look amazingly good in. Possibly she may be overlooking her and just looking at possible other champion fights which she could be having further on down the line. But to speak about Cetin as a fighter, she's a front foot type fighter as well, so it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be the one to kind of claim the centre of the ring. She's quite a relatively tall presence, she's got quite a long reach, so possibly if she can utilise that, then in the centre of the ring, she could work well off of that. And if she can keep a bit more of a mid range against Thorslund, where I think she does do a bit of a best work in mid range setting, then she could find success there. I believe she does want the centre of the ring, and possibly might want it more than Thorslund to an extent, but it's just the physical presence of Thorslund. Like I say, it will be interesting to see who will be the one to control the centre. She's got solid combinations. She puts two shots together quite nicely, and you know the hooks are relatively nice. She is willing to dig deep, and in that last fight she did have to dig deep because Romero was quite a not dirty fighter, but was using some interesting tactics on the inside and was constantly kind of grabbing onto her, making her possibly become frustrated. And she didn't really seem to get too frustrated, which is nice to see. She dug deep. She's got a solid chin. I mean, she took some quite big shots in that last fight. She's got a good work rate. She was continuously going until the final bell. She will let her hands go, and did at points when she did find space against Romero, and she does work well when she does have that space available to her. Her timing is alright. It's solid at points if she can kind of get into a rhythm of catching your timing, I suppose, of when you're going to come in, then she is good at timing. But then when you speak about the negatives about her, I mean, she's smaller physically, and so I don't think she's going to really be able to impose herself too much, and she didn't really seem to do that in her last fight. I think she's in close, she can be quite poor and become quite sloppy and not really be able to get any of her shots off in close and be quite inaccurate. She's got poor defensive movement, in my opinion. She can just freeze up and, just willingly accept shots and put her chin up in the air when she is on the back foot and under pressure. I don't think she counters too well. She, in my opinion, doesn't maintain distance as well as what she should be doing with that long reach. She's got quite wild hooks, accuracy at times, then links to the wild hooks. It's not amazing. She doesn't really make too much of an attempt to get off the ropes when she does get pushed and backed up onto the ropes, and just kind of willingly accepts pressure. She has a bit of a lack of jab. Like I say, with that long reach, you need to have that good jab, and I don't think her jab is amazingly good. I think she plants her feet in quite bad positions, or it doesn't plant them at all, and it's messy. She seems to not really know when to utilise her footwork and as well as she could do. Arm punching quite a lot. I'm surprised to an extent that she does get as many stoppages as she has. You'd have to possibly question the opponents to an extent, but the fact that she has got a good work rate and is going to be working into the later rounds and putting together quite nice combinations into the later rounds, I suppose that to an extent you can argue that that's where the stoppages are coming from. She hasn't really got amazingly good shot variation. She can headhunt a bit at times, but she goes to the body every so often, but it's just them wild hooks quite often that she's trying to utilise as best she can. And so, Thorslund is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Thorslund will win via unanimous decision. I don't think she's going to be able to stop her. Like I say, she's got a relatively good chin setting and could possibly frustrate Thorslund to an extent if she just starts grabbing onto Thorslund in close. But I think Thorslund's going to be able to be the one to do the better work, and if she's going to be the one pushing the pace and being the one in close, she's most definitely going to land the cleaner shots, in my opinion, with Cetin struggling on the back foot. And yeah, I see Thorslund winning via a clear unanimous decision. Then who she could go on to fight next? Like I say, I would really like her to see her get a big fight and fight a tough opponent, and go on to fight a champion now. So the likes of Hughes is somebody who I'd really like to see that fight. I don't know necessarily if that's going to be the case or not, but it would be a great fight to see. Or Yoshida as the IBF champion, beating Ebony Bridges. She showed she is a tough opposition, and she has got a very tough kind of mindset and can take a lot of shots, but also willingly will stand and trade and be in close and have a somewhat to an extent similar style to that of Thorslund. I think that fight could be a great fight and possibly could be one to be made. Or possible like upcoming prospects. I mean, if she's really not quite ready to go on to fight another champion, or if there isn't really any available, prospects like Acevedo or Wonyu, they're both top level prospects. I think the Wonyu fight, I mean, I have had Wonyu on this channel for interview. She is a great upcoming women's fighter, and that could make for a great fight. And I would argue that she is more than ready for that Joanna now, and so that would make for a very entertaining fight. But yeah, like I say, hopefully big fights available next for her. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did indeed like the video. Subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.